All right, boys and girls, we back once again. 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys. Wow, that was my 2021 uh, goal, end of year goal, and we hit it here in March. So apparently, this channel is doing something that people like, and what I think people like is learning uh, how to trade. There's a lot of new traders out there, given the pandemic, and they're all looking for information. They're looking for cheap alternatives. They don't have the cash to go out and spend, $2,000 on a trading system or whatever. So my whole goal with this channel is I've already spent all the money testing these things out, a lot of these systems out, and so my goal with the channel was to kind of bring it all together and not so much like tell you how to trade or anything, but just kind of give you different angles on how to trade, and hopefully some of you guys find stuff you like, and you can pick it up and practice it and use it, because that's the key. All these systems that I go over on this channel, it's just a way to trade. It's not necessarily the best way. I have my own method that I'm always kind of fine tuning and testing, and getting rid of stuff I don't want or adding things that I need. This is what everybody should be doing, and that's all this channel is saying, hey, this is one way to trade. You can use it to your style. You don't necessarily have to copy it and do it exactly. There's no one way to trade. Everybody has their own comfort zone and their own time frame, their own, down to the, whatever candlestick you want to use, or whatever moving average you want to use. You want to use the 21, you want to use the 10, doesn't matter. So, anyways, thanks again for the hitting 1,000 in 3 months. I did start the year off at like 300 or something, but my goal was to hit 1,000 by the end of the year. So we're already there. So at this clip, who knows? Maybe I can be at like 3,000 by the end of the year. But I got to come up with some new content here. I've got a couple more ideas. You guys got to let me know in the comments below what kind of stuff you want to see. I know some people have been wanting to see some live stream trading. Some people want to see, and that stuff is coming. But I do have a full-time job, so it's kind of hard for me to live stream, while I'm working. So a little bit difficult there. I mostly trade from my phone, to be honest. So this is my setup. It's just on my TradingView app on my phone, and then I use Tastyworks. Boom. So, but yeah, this right here was a setup I wanted to go over real quick after that long intro. And it's probably going to lose a lot of people there, but it doesn't matter. This was a setup that I'm going to go over here with Nanox. If you guys are familiar with this stock, there's probably people out there that know a lot more about it than I do, but I've been following it for a year and trading it for a year. And it loves this 50 level, just let me say that. And it trades really erratically around it. So you can see the history of it. We're just going to look here. This is the daily chart here. You can see, it's been a wild one. A chart like this, it looks like a pump and dump scheme to me. And I think the issue is with Nanox is that it's a fairly low float, 30 million shares. That's fairly low compared to a lot of other stocks out there. Like, let's just say, let's just look at Apple, 16 billion. So you got 30 million shares. Now Apple's split like 5 times. So I mean, this is obviously the result of that. But Nanox, really low floater, 30 million shares. I think a lot of the shares, I don't know the exact percentage, but a lot of the shares are short. There's been one hit piece I know for sure, maybe 2 short hit pieces on this thing, and every time it tries to go up, it gets destroyed. But the reason it's such a good stock is because it is low float. That means when it has good news coming, when it has, and the technology it has, you really need to look into it. It's outstanding if it is a real technology. It's a medical imaging device that is extremely cheap and extremely advanced. So if they can get this imaging device to production, pretty much every hospital in the world is probably going to have at least one. And they're going to have a subscription or leasing type revenue generating program. So I mean, it's going to be a big time stock if they can actually get some FDA approval, if it can show that it's real. So as a presentation coming up here on the 17th, and you can already see kind of the hype here. So this was, sorry for my chart a little messy, but here's when the news kind of hit that there's this presentation coming up. You can see it rips from 44 to basically 57 in the pre-market, and then this happens all the time. This thing will sell off, everybody taking their profits, and then you'll see another rip later on. I ended up getting in this a little late. I wasn't really paying attention. I saw some things on Twitter, and I was like, okay, so Nanox is back in play. I looked at the chart. I saw this little setup here where you got this little flag setting up right here. And I looked at the pre-market. I had a nice little spike. So I knew that if this thing broke up higher, it was probably going to rip. But so here's the thing too. You got to learn how to trade a certain stock. You got to know how a stock trades. I don't know how many times, maybe 20 times I've traded Nanox on a run up like this, and it almost always sells off. And when you look at a chart like this, it almost always sells off. This is like a pump and dump chart. You're going to see this, like these M's right here. Okay, it's like the opposite of a stock that the dip gets bought every time, where you see the V on the bottom. You always see this kind of like these like mountains, right? So this is the way Nanox is. So I didn't make the mistake I've usually made where I try to hold it for bigger gains. I took the profits right here. I just said, look, I'm just going to play this little run up here. So it runs from 47 to like 52. The premiums went insane on the options, just like they do all the time with Nanox. As soon as there's a lot of volume coming in, those market makers for their options premiums start jacking those asks up. And so you can't even buy the premiums anymore because they'll take the 70 or 80s for this week way the heck up here, and they'll start making those asks like $3 or $4, $5. That's indicating that the stock is going to go to 85 if you know how option premiums work. So that's ridiculous. But so you can't even play the options unless you're in it before the move. So luckily I got in around here. It spiked. Those premiums went insane. And I sold out because I made the mistake of holding them, and then it comes back down. So this is what happens with it all the time. Now there's some continuation. So this is a good thing. Now the presentation is on Wednesday. So this potentially has some more upside. And the reason I like the upside here is we're going to look at these two charts. Right here, you got this big zone of resistance here. And this has been always kind of like a big inflection point for Nanox, is this little area right in here. It's basically hit there, sold off, hit there, sold off. So it's getting to that point to where if it has a really nice day that Nanox can run 14, 15 in a day pretty easily. I've seen it run more than that. Even in the crash last March, I saw it run more than that while the market was crashing. So if it hits this area here, that's why the setup is here, because if it hits this zone and it gets through, there's a huge amount of room for it to run even further. And so you got this area here. If it hits through here, there's not a lot of volume, not a lot of resistance here on the volume profile. Now this is just the technicals here. There really isn't a lot of resistance here if you look at the price either, because you had a big sell-off here. So you got room to 88. In my opinion, you have room to 88 if this breaks 60, 62, 65 area. You got a lot of room. So now looking over here on the 15-minute, you got the next level is a monthly Fibonacci pivot level at 8150. So that sort of jives with the daily chart. And so I'm liking the setup here. What you would want to see is this level here, but the 55 zone, a lot of congestion here, and you got the 50-day rolling in here. So you got the 50-day and you got a lot of congestion. volume wise, and you got some pivot levels here. This is the last month's open. And so this is just kind of how I'm putting together this trade, is that I want to see how it handles this area here. I don't think this thing is going to sell off. So I sold some put spreads down here just for now, because you can't play the options. So if you're going to play this, I would either let the option premiums come back down and then go in, or just play the equity. But you still have a lot of good room here. I don't think this is going to sell off, at least not until the presentation. Now, last presentation they had, they botched it hard. They basically, everybody wanted to see if the tech was real, and they just came out with a prototype and didn't really show the tech. It didn't really match what the hype was at all. And so I think the tech is real, and I think they just messed up the presentation. But the stock did not react very nicely to it. And if I had time, I would actually get the video and show you guys, and then show you the reaction to the stock. But I'm really just trying to put out this video just because I'm super tired and going to bed. But the idea here is that if they come out with a better presentation, this stock is going to go absolutely insane. And that's my opinion, and the opinion of a lot of people that I follow that know this stock more intimately than I do. Another thing that I like to see, just as just more confirmation, is the MACDs crossing up. I don't really care too much about the MACD, but I do keep it up just because I know traders follow it. So that's a good sign to see that. It's not above the 0 line, which we'd like to see it up here, but it is making that cross up, so that's good. And then you've got the RSI trying to cross above 50, which is good. You can see the Bollinger Band kind of coming in, so they're starting to set this up for this presentation. That's kind of how the stock is. This is kind of like the pre-run up. Traders are starting to get a little antsy, and then they sell it off, and then they get antsy again. So I would not be surprised to see this sell off again in the morning, and then just rip again. That's just how this stock works. So that's just kind of the idea. For a trade plan, I would definitely have like 56, 55 as like a trigger for getting long. You could front run it a little bit here, but if it hits this 55 level, it's probably most definitely, in my mind, going to be going for the 64, 65 level. And if it breaks 65, my guess is that 82 to 92 levels are going to be in play. So that's just a quick little deal. Wanted to show you guys that setup for Nanox. Hopefully it plays out. That'd be really cool for my 1,000th sub video for Nanox to explode and go insane, and hopefully some people can make some money. So anyways, thanks everybody. Like, subscribe, and comment, and keep an eye on this for the next couple days. Peace.